A story is told of the Baal Shem Tov and his students. You see, the Baal Shem Tov was an amazing rabbi and a really gifted teacher. He had many students who joined him each Shabbat to pray, and after services were over, the community would gather for a little kiddush, some cakes and drinks, a little nosh. But the Baal Shem Tov always seemed to take a long time in his prayers. Each week, the students would finish their prayers and they would wait, and wait, and wait, and wait for their teacher, the Baal Shem Tov, to finish. And while they waited, their stomachs grumbled, their mouths watered, thinking about the delicious kiddush that they could not yet partake in. Week after week, the students of the Baal Shem Tov would wait, and wait, and wait, and wait. Each week, getting a little more restless, a little more impatient. Until one week, one student looked at the others and suggested, "What if we just leave for a second and get some food? Our beloved teacher is deep in prayer. He'll never know. We can come back before he's even finished." The students all looked at each other. What would be the harm, they wondered. He doesn't need us here while he's praying. So they nodded and agreed, and oh, so quietly, without making a single noise, they stood up. But no sooner had they all stood up than the Baal Shem Tov lifted his head, opened his eyes, and looked at his students. "What happened? Where are you going?" he cried. The students looked at the floor, embarrassed, unsure what to say. They glanced back and forth at each other until one student finally said, "We hardly even moved. You were busy praying. We didn't make a sound. You were so deep in prayer. How did you even know we were leaving?" The Baal Shem Tov looked at his students with love and responded as follows. "When I pray, it is as though there is a ladder stretching from earth to God. And as I pray, I climb up the ladder higher and higher. But you, my students, my community, you all hold up that ladder. When you stood up to leave, I fell off my ladder of prayer." Just yesterday, the Sunday 7th grade students were imagining what would it be like to explain Judaism to an alien. They imagined that an alien had come to our planet, had heard people talking about this Judaism thing, and wanted to bring it back to other aliens on their planet. Think about it for a second. What is Judaism? It's actually a harder question to answer than you initially think. The students gave a lot of different answers, realizing the flaws and the challenges with each of them after they gave them. But the one thing that they all referred back to that seemed to stick no matter what is that Judaism is a group of people. We are a community. Kol Yisrael, aravin zeh b'zeh. All of Israel, all of the Jews, are responsible for one another. We must all work together and support each other. We are a community. We show up for one another. So, no, the Baal Shem Tov isn't one of those teachers who has eyes at the back of his head. He doesn't have a sixth sense that always knows when the children around him are doing the wrong thing. He is a Jew in prayer. He is a member of a community. And he fell off his ladder of prayer because at that moment, his community was not doing their job. We have so many responsibilities as Jews to keep kosher, to study, to help the poor, the orphan, the widow in our midst, to free the captive, to repair the world. But our first obligation, our first responsibility is to one another. Kol Yisrael aravin zeh b'zeh. Our first responsibility is to the rest of the Jewish community. And that means we actually have to show up. We, like the Baal Shem Tov students, must wait for one another in prayer. We must be in the room and pay attention to each other. We have come here to the synagogue to participate in activities, to engage with people, and we can't wait for the moment when we need the community for our own reasons, but we have to instead actively engage with our community so that we are always supporting one another. Kol Yisrael aravin zeh b'zeh. Tonight we begin a new year and hope for a year filled with sweetness, health, and joy. But tonight, let's also make the promise to be responsible, to be there to support one another's ladders of prayer and to engage with our community. We will do a better job of repairing the outside world if we do it together. And I know that we will find more sweetness, more spiritual health, and more joy if we are truly a part of this Jewish community. Shana Tova.